Ever been hit by this wave of energy at a protest? I'm talking about that feeling deep down that kind of courses through everyone there.
Yeah.
For me, a lot of those memories, they go hand in hand with Kendrick Lamar's All Right.
Oh,
It
yeah.
wasn't just a song playing in the background, you know?
Right.
It was like this anthem, this battle cry for resilience set to music.
Absolutely. And that speaks to something so fundamental about hip hop, right? Like woven into its very being is this power to grab those raw emotions, frustration, hope, all of it, and channel it into a force for social change.
Which brings us to today's deep dive.
Hmm.
We're tracing hip-hop's journey from those streets in the Bronx all the way to this global phenomenon it's become, sparking dialogues, demanding justice, all through these incredible beats and rhymes. Let's rewind for a second back to the 1970s. Picture the South Bronx. Poverty everywhere you look, racial tensions simmering, and just this overwhelming sense of being ignored by, well, anyone in power.
And this wasn't just some setting, some background noise. This was the very heart of it. Hip-hop was born from those conditions, a direct response to what these artists were living and breathing every single day.
So it wasn't about creating this escape from reality. It was about grabbing a mic and running straight towards it.
Exactly. And you can't talk about those early days without talking about DJ Kool Herc.
Now, why him? What made him so important?
He was the one who really pioneered this art of isolating and then extending breakbeats.
Breakbeats. Okay, break it down for us. For those of us who might not be musical geniuses, what are we even talking about?
Okay, so think about your favorite funk or soul song, right?
Right.
Now picture looping the part where the singer takes a breath.
Okay.
You're left with the drums and the bass really shining through. That's a breakbeat. Pure rhythm, creating space for people to move and just improvise.
And those spaces, they didn't stay empty for long, did they?
Not a chance. That's where MCs came in, grabbed those mics, and turned those breaks into stages for their rhymes, their stories, their truths about life in the Bronx.
So it's this amazing partnership, DJs creating this sonic canvas, and MCs stepping up with these vibrant, raw lyrics, taking center stage. But it's more than just those two, right?
Right.
We can't forget about b-boys, those incredible dancers and graffiti artists, visual storytellers adding their voices to the mix right there from the start.
Absolutely. It really is this whole ecosystem of creative expression all feeding into each other.
It's amazing.
It is. But for today, we're putting those lyrics under the microscope because that's where you see hip-hop evolving into this weaponized voice, speaking truth to power on behalf of the unheard. Groups like Public Enemy, they weren't holding back. Their song, Fight the Power, that wasn't just a song on the radio.
It became an anthem, a call to action. I mean, even decades later, those lyrics hit hard.
They do. And then came N.W.A. exploding onto the scene with F the Police. And it was raw, it was confrontational, and it forced the entire country to have this conversation about police brutality, which, for better or worse, feels more relevant than ever.
And this is where things get really mind-blowing to me. Hip-hop didn't just stay confined to one borough or even to just the United States, did it? It was like this sonic explosion that just reverberated across the globe.
It did. And that speaks to something so essential about hip-hop at its core. It speaks a universal language, the language of being marginalized, of being oppressed, of fighting to make your voice heard no matter where you are in the world.
So it crosses borders, carrying that same energy, that same fight for social justice.
Absolutely, you see it everywhere. Take the group IAM in France. They were giving voice to the struggles of North African immigrants. And then you look at South Africa, where hip-hop became a potent tool against apartheid.
It's incredible. It's like the music itself is this vessel carrying that message of social commentary, pushing past language barriers to connect with something much deeper.
And what I find so fascinating is that this global impact, this power to speak truth to power, never faded. It's still as potent as ever, maybe even more so when you look at movements like Black Lives Matter. When you think about Black Lives Matter and the music that's become intertwined with that movement, it's hard not to think of Kendrick Lamar.
It really is.
It's like he tapped into something so raw, so universal with, all right, it transcended just being a protest song, you know?
Totally.
It was this source of strength, this musical reminder that even when faced with oppression, we gonna be all right.
Absolutely. And what I find so compelling about Lamar is how he brings together the personal and the political in his music. He's so open about his own experiences with systemic racism, with police brutality, but then he connects it to something much larger.
Yes.
This collective fight for justice and equality. And the thing is, he's not alone, right?
Right. Not at all.
It's like you have this whole new generation of artists stepping up, using their platforms to bring those same injustices, the ones that fueled hip-hop from the beginning, back into the light.
Yeah, it's powerful to see.
You've got J. Cole, and he's dropping truth bombs about mass incarceration, Cardi B refusing to stay silent about gender inequality, Run the Jewels taking on the entire prison industrial complex.
It's a testament to how much influence this genre really has.
It really is.
I mean, you could argue that hip-hop is the most globally influential musical force we have right now.
And when you think about it like that, it makes these artists using their platforms to amplify those messages even more impactful. They're not just making music, they're sparking these dialogues on a global scale.
Absolutely. And they're doing it in a way that really seems to resonate with this generation, a generation that's looking around and saying, okay, enough is enough, we need change.
Okay, so we can't do this deep dive without addressing the elephant in the room.
Let's do it.
Because hip-hop has definitely received its fair share of criticism over the years, and I'm curious to get your perspective on this. There's this argument that pops up that some of the lyrics, especially in certain subgenres, end up glorifying the very things they're supposed to be critiquing.
Yep. It's a conversation that's been happening within hip-hop since the very beginning.
Right.
Where do you draw that line between what's artistic expression and what's social responsibility?
It's tough, isn't it?
It is. When does reflection cross over into glorification? Those are questions with no easy answers.
It does feel like there's this constant tension, this back and forth between celebrating everything that hip-hop is, this vibrant culture, while still acknowledging that it has its complexities.
And that tension, that's actually what makes the genre so dynamic and so thought-provoking. It's not afraid to spark those difficult conversations, to hold up a mirror to society and say, look, this is happening. How are we going to deal with this?
I think you're right. It's that unflinching honesty, that rawness, that keeps drawing people to hip-hop, even if they don't agree with every single word, with every single artist. Because it's real.
Yes.
It's a reflection of life, with all its messy complications.
And ultimately, I think that's what makes it such an effective tool for pushing for social change. It gives a voice to those who haven't been heard, it challenges authority, and it pushes us to confront these uncomfortable truths about ourselves, about the world around us.
We've come on this journey, haven't we?
We have.
From the streets of the Bronx to this global phenomenon, we've seen hip-hop transform from this very direct form of protest into a platform for raising awareness, even a soundtrack for movements demanding change.
It's pretty remarkable when you think about it.
It really is. And it makes you think about the legacy of it all, this lasting impact that goes beyond music.
Because that impact, it's not limited to these artists with millions of listeners, right?
No.
It's about the potential of music to inspire every single listener to take action, to look at the world around them, to think critically, and to ask, what can I do to build a more just and equitable world?
It's inspiring to hear about how influential hip-hop has been, but it also makes you stop and think about how it applies to you.
Right.
Like, how can I take this energy and create change myself?
And I think that's the beauty of hip-hop. It's not this thing of the past.
Yeah.
It's a living, breathing example that your voice, your story, your truth, it has the power to make a difference. And the thing is, you don't have to become some famous rapper to have an impact, right?
Yeah.
Just like the artists we've been talking about, we each have a platform, whether it's through music or art or just speaking your truth, even if it's just in conversations with the people around you.
So it's looking at the world, seeing those injustices, and finding our own way to say, okay, what am I going to do about this?
Exactly. And every act of courage, every time you speak up for what you believe in, every time you challenge the status quo, those are all ripples of change that hip-hop has always been about. It's not about waiting for someone else to fix things for us, right?
It's about being part of the solution.
Exactly.
We've gone on this incredible journey with hip-hop, from those streets in the Bronx to a global force for change. It's given a voice to the voiceless, challenged authority, and used music to create real, lasting social change.
It has. And I think what's so amazing about hip-hop is that its story isn't over. It's still being written. And you, the listener, you're a part of that story now. So go out there, listen to the music, engage with art and culture, but most importantly, find your voice, share your truth, and use it to make the world a little brighter, a little more just, one rhyme, one conversation, one action at a time.